Export Development Canada, with Export Development Canada. With almost $500 million in assets under management, the funds have invested in and created marquee portfolio companies in key sectors like telecommunications, financial services, and energy generation, and have produced a profound and positive impact in many countries. Today, Michael remains firmly committed to creating wealth for investors as chairman of the Mandeville Group of companies. Michael has assembled a diversified group, including an investment dealer, an investment fund manager, portfolio manager, and expert market dealer. This group of companies includes Mandeville Private Client Incorporated, Mandeville Insurance Services Incorporated, and Portland Investment Council Incorporated. Among his many personal accomplishments, Michael has received Doctor of Laws degrees from a number of distinguished universities, including McMaster University, the University of Toronto, Northern Caribbean University, Sir Wilfrid Laurier University, and the University of the West Indies, and York University. In 2008, Michael was awarded one of Jamaica's highest national honors, the Order of Jamaica, for his significant contributions in business and philanthropy. In 2013, Michael was selected by the Government of Ontario to receive the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal. From 2011 to 2016, Michael served as Chancellor of Wilfrid Laurier University, and most recently, on April 27, 2016, Michael was appointed Chair of the Government of Jamaica's newly established Economic Growth Council, EGC, in an effort to bolster economic development, and they seem to be having some success, by the way. As Growth Czar, Michael is tasked with leading a team from private and public sectors to advise the government of Jamaica on the adoption of a framework of growth initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Michael Ritchie.
Thank you very much, Ken. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I have to mention that I may be a biased speaker on a topic that I've been asked to speak on, which is opportunities for doing business in the Caribbean. And I'm biased because of my own personal experience. And I'll give you two examples. Well, firstly, we are guided by a framework which would encompass the following dogmas. We are drawn to any area, or any sector, any business, any region of the world once there are three preconditions that exist. The first is there must be a difference between perception and reality. Because only when there's a difference between perception and reality can you create outsized wealth. The converse of that is when everybody knows the same thing, there's efficiency of information, there's no difference between perception and reality, there's no opportunity to create outsized wealth. The second precondition is there must be inefficiencies. We're drawn to inefficiencies. We love inefficiencies. And the third the converse of that is whenever things are efficient, there isn't an opportunity to create outsized wealth. The third is there must be a lack of equity capital going towards the industry, the sector, the region. Because only when there's a lack of equity capital, that incremental dollar is well treated. So, the Caribbean is a treasure trove given those three preconditions. So we were drawn to the Caribbean, firstly. I built my reputation and business success in Canada. But in 2002, armed with those three preconditions, I was drawn to invest in the National Commercial Bank of Jamaica. The National Commercial Bank of Jamaica, at the time, was being shopped. No one wanted it. It was taken over by the government. It was mismanaged. No one wanted it. So, because Jamaica met those three preconditions, the National Commercial met those three preconditions, we thought, bingo. But bingo was only when we were courting it. When we had to manage it, the realities of managing it was a different matter. But what we inherited was a business that had a 24% market share at the time, whereby Scotiabank had a 54% market share. So the question I had to ask myself is, how can, the general question is, can local institutions compete against multinationals? That's a general question that every local business has to ask. Can local institutions, can local businesses compete against multinationals? In other words, specifically, how is NCB going to compete with the likes of Scotiabank, RBC, CIBC? Because, to put things in perspective, when a multinational like Scotia makes a capital allocation decision, they can amortize it over 50 countries. The local institution will have to make the same capital allocation to keep abreast of being relevant in the marketplace, but the local institution can only amortize it over one country. Big disadvantage. Secondly, a multinational can, because it has a perspective in many countries, can bring best of class from country Z and aim it at you. You're just operating in your little village, you don't have that perspective. So generically speaking, local businesses are at a complete disadvantage. So the question is, I had to ask as owner, operator, chairman of the bank is there a way for local businesses to compete against multinationals? And we had to solve for that, which we did. So I'll fast forward, I won't spare the boredom of the details. I'll fast forward to say 15 years later, NCB's market share, which was 24% and declining, is now 44%. Our major competition was 54%, it's now 30%. NCB is the largest and most profitable bank in Jamaica, and in so doing, we actually, in looking at how we did it, we more or less codified, hardwired a principle. And the principle is the following. The only way for developing countries to get out of that spiral of continuous developing. When was the last time you heard a developing country graduated from being developing? When was the last time? From other than Singapore? It never happens. The only way, and this is coming from the experience we have had from NCB, that countries will graduate from being developing is if governments realize that they have to have policies, regulations aimed at one thing, building strong indigenous businesses. And that was the lesson we learned from the NCB experience. And that's what the approach we took to have competed against the multinationals and, as I said, be successful. So governments, and I'm going to not just speak about NCB, but I'm just going to speak on a more major theme as to what governments should be looking towards doing. And as I said, the only way any country can maintain its long-term sustainability, and especially developing countries, is to have policies that are aimed at building strong indigenous businesses. Okay, so NCB, that's the NCB situation, history. We were guided by the 3 preconditions. Another example is in 2006. I became involved, I co-founded a business by the name of Columbus Communication. Columbus Communication, our first investment was an interest in Cable Bahamas. Then there was an RFP in Jamaica to have a second undersea fiber line linking Jamaica to the rest of the world. The incumbent then was Cable and Wireless. So at the time, when we bought the position in Cable Bahamas, Batalco, Bahamas, they were charging us $48,000 per month for a T1 line. 48,000. We said, what? 48,000 per month? No, we all know a T1 line would cost hundreds, not tens of thousands. That was the cost. We said, we're not going to pay it. So we decided that what we'll do is build an undersea network from Boca Raton to the Bahamas. When we made the announcement, the incumbent dropped the price from 48,000 to 24,000. When we landed, they dropped the price further from 24,000 to 12,000. We came in at 6,000 per month and we grabbed 60% market share. Right? Now, we were guided to have made that investment because of the three preconditions. Number one, there has to be a difference between perception and reality. Number two, there has to be inefficiencies, and in this case, lots of inefficiencies, $48,000 a month. And number three, there has to be a dearth of equity capital going into the region. So long and short of it is, we having grabbed 60% market share in the Bahamas, Cable Bahamas, we responded to an RFP from Jamaica for a second cable line. And we started to look shop in the world. We came across this network, the Arcos network, which Motorola had laid. It goes from Boca Raton and hub servicing the Central American country, up passes down the south, passes Trinidad, Eastern Caribbean, Dominican Republic, US Virgin Island, British Virgin Island to Miami. It was a ring. So we bought that. Motorola had spent $450 million laying that cable in the era of global crossing. In the late 1990s, we bought it for $80 million. We rehabilitated it, and that was our telecommunications backbone. Fast forward, this was in 2006. In 2013, we sold that business to Cable and Wireless for $3 billion. Right? So, again, most people, and Ken, as in his introduction, said the National Commercial Bank, over the last 14 years, has had cumulative profits of over $1.4 billion US. And we've paid in income taxes over $500 million US in income taxes. So, I started out by saying I'm biased because I'm an investor in the Caribbean. And my topic is opportunities for doing business in the Caribbean. I think it's fantastic because the Caribbean is a treasure trove of inefficiencies. And if you are an investor, you love inefficiencies. If your attitude is, I will embrace it and I'll fix it. Secondly, the Caribbean is a treasure trove for lack of equity capital because of lack of confidence, domestically and internationally. So therefore, it's a fantastic opportunity. And thirdly, there's a big difference between perception and reality. You wouldn't have thought that a bank over the last, a bank in Jamaica could have made over the last 14 years $1.5 billion US. You wouldn't have thought that. That's not intuitive, right? But that's the reality. So the Caribbean, for those three reasons, should be on the radar of any intelligent investor. Now, so where are the opportunities? The opportunities emanate from the fact that there is a lack of competition in the Caribbean. Hence, the incumbent monopoly, Cable and Wireless at the time, could have charged $48,000 per month. But the problem is when, and by the way, the rate came down by over the next few years by over 90%. So now, from 48,000 per month to hundreds, $500 per month because of competition. But it's significant because now the Caribbean region with competitive telecom prices can now have new industries like the ICT industry, right? That was not possible before at 48,000 per month. So great opportunities because of lack of competition. The tourism sector continues to do fantastically well. But in terms of in the tourist industry, there's a huge opportunity for local businesses, for businesses to help the country import substitute. As an example, probably 80% of the consumption in the hotels are imported. And we have a growing business there. So there's a huge opportunity to import substitutes. Caribbean, great location, fantastic location. And this became indelibly clear to me about 10 years ago. I was in Harlem. I was being given an award by the Abyssinian Baptist Church. And Reverend Calvin Butts said at the awards ceremony, did you realize that in the last 40 years, there's only been one high school built in Harlem? I was aghast. And it wasn't built by the federal government. It was not built by the state government, nor the city government. It was built by the Abyssinian Baptist Church. So the Abyssinian Baptist Church, he continued to say, was at the forefront of the gentrification of Harlem. But there's a problem, because now that Harlem is gentrified, the major Manhattan community is now moving in, and over the last few years, real estate prices have gone up by 10 times in Harlem. So the natives are being displaced because they're not traditional asset owners. So when Dr. Calvin Butts said that, I got nervous, because I'm saying, we are working hard to gentrify Jamaica. And if Jamaicans are not asset owners, they're going to be displaced. No different from Harlem. Harlem is a microcosm. So every time I give a speech in Jamaica, I say, make sure you own assets. Because if you're praying for rain, make sure you bring your umbrella. And we're working hard to gentrify Jamaica. It's happening, so own a piece of the rock. So location, Jamaica's location is fantastic. The Caribbean, the islands, they have fantastic location. So so we can just think, what